Hi friends, welcome back. Michelle here, and today we're going to make dog food. This is something that I've been doing for quite a while. You know, for those of you who have your beloved dogs and cats and whatever else pets that you have, I know you always want the best for them. And I do buy some frozen raw food for our Lhasa Maltese. But to supplement even more nutrition for that dog, he's 16, and then we have a cattle dog who's 14. These two dogs, you know, they're so old, but they're still actually in pretty good health. And I think one of the reasons is I do cook for them. Now, I add this cooked food to their kibble. And then in the morning, I supplement for the Lhasa Maltese, just one little, it's a frozen, they call it sliders. It's a frozen raw food that we've actually been using for years. When we had a Lhasa years ago, I don't remember how old he lived till, it was quite a while, but he had some real health issues. He looks like he had a stroke one time, and we started giving him the raw sliders, and he just perked right back up, and you would never have known that he had some trouble. And so when our dogs are aging, I know it's, you know, we've got to take really good care of them because of course we love our pets. And so today we're going to make dog food. I add this cooked food with their kibble. I don't just give them this raw food. That would be quite expensive. Now, I have friends that do that, but I'm not willing to spend that much money. But it's such a simple process. You can make it in your crock pot. You can make it on the stove. I'm making it in the Instant Pot. For years, I had been using the crock pot, and then I realized I could go through this process much quicker if I use the Instant Pot. So it's just a few ingredients, and what we have here is we have some chicken. This is boneless, skinless chicken breast. I use either chicken breast or chicken thighs, whatever's on sale. I use a green vegetable. I have here some peas. I've used green beans. I think green beans is one of the better ones. Let me get this. There we go. Now you can see it. Green beans is one of the better ones, but I've used broccoli, spinach, whatever, you know, whatever you have. And you can use frozen. These peas are frozen. And then I have some carrots here. A lot of times I would use sweet potatoes, but I have a lot of carrots on hand, so I thought we'll just do, you know, go with that. And then we have 2 cups of brown rice. I don't have exact measurements for you because it really just depends on what you have on hand and what you want to use. I always buy the big pack of chicken, whatever's on sale. If you do the one with bones, it's kind of a hassle because I always have to go in with my hand or gloves or something and get the bones back out. So I found it's much easier just to use the chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, or chicken breast. And then all you need is water. So what we have here is we have 1 pack of boneless, skinless chicken breast. We're gonna just put that in. And then we have, these are about 3 carrots, I think. Dump that in. I'm actually going to add the rice next. I don't always like the rice right on top. I use brown rice, of course. And then peas. And you know, I've even just used mixed vegetables, peas and carrots, whatever you have. And then, where'd my water go? Here it is. 6 cups of water. You need to make sure you have plenty of water because it's going to, it needs to be able to cook that rice well. And actually, once this is cooked, I usually add a little bit more water, and then I just mash it up with a potato masher. Now, we do not put any seasoning in here. No salt, nothing. You know, for the dogs, they don't need the salt. So, you know, besides water, you can also use unsalted chicken stock, chicken broth if you've made some. I've never tried it, but I've seen recipes for that. I just go with water. The dogs are so happy with this. They love it. So I'm going to put it in the Instant Pot. Now, I'm letting it go for an hour and a half, It just depends on how soft you like it. I like it pretty soft. I like it mushy. And then once it's all cooked and I've mashed it up, I've usually added a little bit more water. I just put it in these containers here. I usually get about 5 or 6 containers. I keep them in the freezer, one in the refrigerator, and so when I feed the dogs, I just put their kibble and then I put some of this cooked food and stir it up, and they're happy as can be. Be sure to write on your lid here, dog, because you don't want to get it mixed up with other foods that you have in the freezer. So when this is all finished cooking, we will come back and I will show you the results. Hi friends, well, we are back with our cooked dog food. This is what it looks like. And I just use a potato masher. One time I actually put it in the mixer and just use the beaters to do the work, but that's just one more thing to wash. So I found it's best to just do it this way. And you do have to use a little bit of muscle. I'm actually going up on my tippy toes here. And be sure to get the chicken on the very, very bottom. Yeah, I'm still going to add a little bit of water here. Actually, I think what I did last time was I used ice, so it cools it down a little quicker, but that's okay. I'm not in any hurry here. But this looks really good, and I'll give you a close-up of what it's like. And I tell you, your dogs are going to love it. We have our, like I said earlier, we have a 16-year-old Lhasa Maltese, a 14-year-old Queensland Heeler cattle dog, and she's actually with me all day wherever I am. My cattle dog is there. She sleeps on the floor on my side of the bed. I don't know what I'm gonna do without her when she goes someday. And then we have a, how old is this other one? 15-month-old Labrador. She's a big girl. I'm not quite sure how big she is. She's between 90 and 100 pounds. And I have her outside right now because otherwise she would be trying to get this. She would be jumping up on me here. In fact, she tried to get the chicken earlier. Okay, so you get the idea of what we're doing here. And then how I store it is still a little bit hot. You know what? I'm gonna add a little bit more water. I like to make it where it's pretty easy to dish out and it's not quite so thick. So I just put it in these containers and fill them up. And then I just keep it in the refrigerator in the garage because that's where the dog food is. And that's all you have to do. Another tip you can do is I froze these in ice cube trays before, and so I could just pop them out and then put them in a Ziploc bag and then grab them that way. And that is something I could do instead of buying the frozen dog food sliders, the raw sliders. I've done that before, but that was just too many more things for me to wash. And so I just go this route. It works great. And I will be sure to include a few pictures of our crazy dogs so you can see them enjoying their delicious dinner. Have a great week, everybody.